In a world torn apart by infection, violence, and grief, there's one thing that still keeps people going: each other. But what happens when the very communities that promise safety begin to erode your sense of self? In episode 7 of The Last of Us season 2, we see how the need to belong can either heal or break you. In Ellie's case, it has broken her. Hello, my name is Dr. Pauline Botchway, a licensed professional counselor, and today we're breaking down and exploring the psychology of the long-term impact of community and how communities tend to shape key characters of The Last of Us. At the heart of every human being is a need for connection. Psychologist Abraham Maslow placed love and belonging right at the center of his hierarchy of needs, just after safety and before self-esteem. In The Last of Us, communities like Jackson or the Wolf offer more than food and shelter. They offer meaning, identity, a place to be someone in a world where everything feels lost. However, Ellie stated that she has lost her community when Joel died. Community versus individual trauma. Although communities can provide a sense of safety, it isn't always healing. For example, like Ellie haunted by the past, community can become a mirror, reflecting everything she's lost. Even when you're surrounded by people, you still feel completely alone. Ellie has felt abandoned her whole life, and because of rage and revenge, she abandoned Jesse and Tommy to hunt down Abby. This choice proved to be fatal for Jesse. Unlike Ellie, who is impulsive and selfish, Jesse and Joel are willing to be violent, but not at any cost. And for Abby, loyalty for her group, the Wolf, comes at the cost of her mental well-being. She's trapped in a cycle of violence that's justified by the group's ideology. Personally, it tears her apart. When belonging comes with conditions, one of the most psychological damaging parts of community can be conditional acceptance. You belong until you question the rules. From what we have seen, the Seraphites seem the most loyal to their community. We have watched them being tortured to death while members of Wolf have broken down to provide information when being tortured. We saw this when Mel was caught in the crossfire as she tried to provide Ellie with the truth about Abby's whereabouts, which cost her her life and the life of her unborn child. When belonging comes with conditions, the more you silence your own values to fit in, the more detached you become from your identity. In psychology, this is called cognitive dissonance, the stress of living in contradiction with your own beliefs. And in communities like these, that stress can lead to depression, anxiety, and emotional numbness. I think that there's irony in this episode, especially Ellie trying to save the young Seraphite boy while Jesse is telling her to stand back, but later nearly being killed by the Seraphites, but only to be unintentionally saved by the Wolf, who were attacking the Seraphites community. The big question is, why doesn't Ellie turn around when she had plenty of chances to go back to her community? That is because Ellie has lost her sense of self and her sense of community. Now she has killed innocent people, such as an unborn child. For Joel, a community that no longer exists for her. The healing and harm of shared grief. Grief has a strange way of pulling people together and pushing them apart. In episode 7, we see moments of deep connection between characters such as Jesse and Ellie, who have suffered unthinkable losses. Sometimes that grief helps them see each other. Other times, it fuels cycles of revenge and division, such as when Dina pulled away when Ellie told her the truth about why Joel was killed. Shared trauma can build powerful bonds, but when the trauma goes unprocessed, it turns into something else: collective anger, scapegoating, or even radicalization, such as the war between the Wolves and the Seraphites. So what makes a healthy community? A healthy community allows space for differences. It listens, it adapts, it lets people grieve, grow, and make mistakes. In The Last of Us, those kinds of communities are rare, but not impossible. As we watch these characters struggle with loyalty, loss, and identity, we're reminded of our own relationships, our own groups, and we have to ask, does the community I belong to help me become more of who I am or less? Thanks for watching. If this episode got you thinking about your own mental health or the impact of your community, drop a comment below. And if you're feeling isolated, remember, there is help and there is hope.